Well, good to see everyone here. Thanks to the organisers for having me back after Berlin. It's an amazing conference. I worked for 8 years at Toyota, which is one of the pioneers of Ambient IoT, and we'll get into where that's at and what it is in the middle of this presentation. But during the last couple of years at Wiliot, we started to experiment with bringing AI and Ambient IoT together. And I was so excited with what I was seeing and the possibilities of that I left a company that's doing really well to start AmbAI, which stands for Ambient Intelligence. So you can tell I'm an optimist, but I also have some major concerns. And so the subtext to this presentation is that if we just let things flow naturally, bringing AI and Ambient IoT together, Ambient IoT basically brings every single thing online, food, medicine, and clothing, parts, everything, that things may not go the way we want them to go. And if we're going to get to a situation where the technology is serving the people rather than the people are serving the technology, I think there's some things that need to be done. And that's really the subject of my talk. It's in 3 steps. So think of this as a hamburger, this kind of the fluffy bun at the beginning and the end, which is sort of really me scene setting and giving you my opinion. And then the meat will be facts about where Ambient IoT is today and where it's going to in the future. You may feel like I'm going to say some negative things about AI, and so, but I really love it. It's just amazing, maybe too amazing. I first fell in love with the topic when I saw this movie. I was 6 years old. Does anyone recognize this? It's 2001: A Space Odyssey. So, spoiler alert, the computer tries to kill the crew. This is where they lock Dave out of HAL. The computer locks Dave out of the spacecraft. Dave gets back in and then basically starts dismantling HAL to complete the mission. So that's AI going wrong. I'm kind of interested in polling you to see what you think about the way things are likely to play out with AI. So you've probably heard of the PDOOM probability. What's the probability that all of this ends up badly? So I want to poll the room and see what you think the probability is that advanced AI leads to human extinction or permanent dispowerment by 2035. So I'd be very interested to see. We have 5 categories. Think about which one you want to be in. Please pick one. Who's an optimist? Raise your hands. So a decent number of people think it's going to be okay. Who's cautious? Quite a few there. Concerned? One. I'm going to raise my hand. Worried? And doomer. No one's. Oh, a doomer. Yeah. Very good, very good. Well, you'll be interested to hear maybe the opinion of Paul Christiano. So he knows quite a lot about this stuff, and he thinks the probability of an AI takeover is 22%. The probability that we've somehow really messed things up is 46%. But, you know, what does he know? Well, he was on the cover of Time magazine. He was OpenAI's head of safety, and he's now head of safety at the National Institute of Standards. I looked at other experts, and they're a bit more optimistic than him. So, you know, we'll find out. This is the projection from someone else who knows a bit about this subject. The CEO of NVIDIA is charting the future of AI, going from generative AI, which a lot of us are using every day, to agentic AI, where it's actually starting to have agency. It's doing things for us. To physical AI, which I think everyone at the moment is thinking about robots, but I think of it as actually this convergence of ambient IoT, where ordinary objects have a digital identity that's being broadcast out, and AI having visibility of what's going on. But simplistically, agentic AI is where we have AI servants. I'm really dating myself with these film references, but anyone recognize this film? So this is Arthur, Dudley Moore, John Gielgud, who basically knows everything about Dudley Moore. And if I speak for myself, I don't have a romantic relationship with my LLM, but I do consult it about health matters, legal matters. We're already getting pretty intimate. And you can see that the AI companies are starting to put the foundations in place for connections with your wallet. So this is Claude, a really excellent LLM, APIs for integration with Square and PayPal. Why would that be? So it can buy things for you. So we'll have these personal shoppers. It'll be the Nordstrom type experience where very similar to today with Amazon, but where you're having much more of a consultative and a hands-off approach to purchasing things. And really, the AI is likely to be sitting between us, the consumer, and the people, the companies that are making things, the consumer packaged goods companies. And what does that mean? Well, it means they're going to have incredible intimacy with the customer and with product data. And what does that mean? Well, it means if you're in the business of making products, you're likely to be disintermediated. The normal tools you had of putting the cans at eye level, merchandising, don't really make any difference. And your ability to influence purchase decisions is really going to be diminished very significantly. So what that spells is a change in the balance of power between the companies that make the technology and the companies that make the things. And this is a graph that shows the market capitalization of the top 10 technology companies with the top 10 things companies. So things companies being Walmart, they sell things, the drugs companies, the Johnson and Johnson's. So you can see already massive skew towards value and power, financial power amongst the technology companies. And this is only going to accentuate as AI starts to take on more responsibility for helping us run our lives. So let's look at Ambient IoT and do a check-in on that. So working definition, it's basically an evolution of RFID, uses the radios that surround us rather than specialist readers. You don't have to do anything. It's automatic, it's real time, and it has deep links into digital product passports. So it takes us from a situation where AI is isolated, where it's getting its input from what you type and what it's scanned from text and video, to something that has all of these properties of ambient IoT combined. Where are we? What's the technical reality? Well, ambient IoT really, I think, was one of the pioneers of this. They've been at it for 8 years. They're now scaling to really significant volumes, hundreds of millions of tags with Amazon, Walmart, Royal Mail. They have incredible performance characteristics, a milliwatt of peak consumption, nanowatt of leakage from the circuits, which basically means they have cracked the code as far as something that's incredibly efficient. It has decent range, 20 meters plus, can give zonal accuracy about where things are. Is a product in at the right part of the store? Has it been loaded onto a truck or not? So eliminating manual tapping and scanning, and the pricing is coming down dramatically. So version 1 of our product, or their product, I should say, was $1. Then version 2 has been around 30 cents. Version 3, which is coming out in Q4, will be a third of the price and 3 times the performance. So the cost of connecting something continuously and securely is going down, but it goes beyond Wiliot. And there's a whole set of standards that are taking this mode and expanding beyond Bluetooth, where it's already shipping, to Wi-Fi. The IEEE will have something called 802.11bp, which is essentially Wi-Fi's battery-free tag. And 3GPP are actually ahead. They're moving really fast. This is being driven by Chinese OEMs. And release 19, release 30, which will be 5G advanced and 6G, will have battery-free, sticker-sized tags that will proactively, securely push data into the cloud to AI. There's now an alliance, which I am the spokesperson for, but it's full of large companies: Intel, Qualcomm, Mosig, Fusion Group, who make the electronic shelf labels in all Walmart stores. And what they're trying to do is harmonize these standards. They announced at the end of last year, hopefully in the next few months, they'll be taking on more members. There's been a huge amount of interest. They need to restructure. There'll be a couple of white papers coming out in the next few weeks on the status of these standards, going into more detail than what I have time to go through today. And there's going to be a 2-hour session at Embedded World in Anaheim in November if you're interested. Now, part of the reason why I'm excited by the potential of this technology is some of the results I've seen from other Bluetooth manifestations where they've been bridging the digital and physical. At San Diego Airport, we saw a 10x improvement on QR codes and NFC tags in terms of engaging people onto websites. If you push data to someone's phone rather than waiting for them to come to the phone, then you get much better results. When I was at Qualcomm, we developed a payment app that allowed you to pay just by walking into the cafe and getting a personalized experience. Within a month, 25% of the transactions at this cafe were going through this because it was just a better experience. Every time you allow people to do less and do more, then it tends to get adoption. So I think we're heading to a world where the AI and the ambient IoT is omniscient. It knows everything about everything everywhere all at once. And that's a lot of power. And that's why I think we need a wall between AI and the physical world in order to stop bad things happening. Fortunately, over in the EU, Senelec, which is the standards body that serves that region, has a group called JTC24. I had a chair on my podcast a few weeks ago. It's the only time he's spoken publicly about what they're doing. This is a 300-person standards group working on the digital product passports that will be mandated by law for products sold in the EU in a variety of categories. Batteries are some of the first, but toys, textiles. So digital product passports, this breakdown of where something came from, what's in it, are going to be law. And there's basically a part of that architecture, which is like the domain name server that connects the identifier, the barcode, the RFID tag, or the Ambient IoT ID with a pointer to the digital product passport. And this is an opportunity for us to actually have a control on what AI gets to in terms of this very valuable information. And so we have a couple of options. One is just to open the floodgates and let AI see everything. The other one is to start to put some controls in place that are using some of these standards that are being pushed in Europe, where essentially you have the equivalent of a password manager, so you can manage the visibility of the things that you're wearing, the medicine that you're taking, and the food that you're eating, so that ordinary people can control whether they want AI to see what's in their medicine cabinet, drinks cabinet, pantry, and wardrobe. And I think those controls are very important. Now is really the time for us to get ahead of the technology. DPP is going to start to scale very rapidly. The first compliance is starting next year for batteries, and enforcement will start in 2027. So there's going to be eventually trillions of items of data that AI can get access to. And so we have a choice. Do we let the LLMs get access to every piece of data about everything? Or do we start to put some controls in place that empower consumers? If we're going to do that, it's going to take effort, and it's going to take cooperation between the brands that make things and sell things. Even Walmart is not big enough to take action on this sort of thing on its own. The reality is that government is not going to take action on this, not in this country, and even in the EU, which is very progressive. Then they've got the foundations, but not the complete picture in place. So that's all I have time for. Hopefully, that's at least got you interested in what's happening with this convergence of AI and ambient IoT. If you want to know more, there's a podcast that comes out every couple of weeks where we cover this subject. And if you go to AmbAI, there's some analyst reports, most of them are free, and you're very welcome to download them. I really appreciate your time and attention. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for this visionary talk. Any questions for Steve? We've got a couple of minutes. Well, apparently it's very clear, all clear. I do have one question, just as a curiosity. Is AI the end game, or is there something beyond that, in your opinion?
I mean, AI isn't one thing. So what we're starting off with chatbots is just some small manifestation. But the idea of being able to have a conversation with and understanding the provenance of things and getting advice based on where you are and everything around you. The opportunities are massive. If we look at just climate change, if I can see a supply chain in real time, there's a massive amount of waste, and potentially we can cut the capital and the carbon in supply chains. So it's really about how you apply the AI, and realistically, that's going to take many years for all of the applications to be revealed and implemented.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.